Sabrina and Brianna Stewart actually talking about the loss, what happened, things like that. People are loving what Sabrina said about Caitlin Clark and just showing love.
The defending champions, the New York Liberty, just got completely outplayed by Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. And what followed was basketball gold. After a 14-point beatdown, Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart stepped up to the post-game mic looking like they'd just been through a Caitlin Clark highlight montage. And in truth, they had. But instead of making excuses, blaming the refs, or dodging the spotlight, they delivered a moment that stunned fans everywhere. Their raw and unfiltered praise for Clark's performance shut down any lingering arguments about who's really defining greatness in the WNBA right now. Tell us in the comments, was that genuine respect we saw from them? Or were they just gracefully accepting a hard loss after getting schooled? Whatever you think, one word fits Caitlin Clark perfectly: undeniable. Subscribe to the channel to show your love. She walked onto that court and made her presence felt immediately, sinking 3 triples in just 38 seconds during the first quarter. She's not just good, she's magnetic, relentless, and unstoppable. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a phenomenon. She's the sister the game has been waiting for. She's a once-in-a-generation talent who's rewriting expectations. Currently ranked 4th in the MVP race, Clark is already cementing her place as a superstar. People are calling her the Michael Jordan of women's basketball. And honestly, they're not wrong. Young girls finally have the icon they've long dreamed of watching. Now let's rewind the story a bit. The Liberty came into this matchup undefeated, still flexing their championship hardware, and expected to breeze through a Fever squad that had barely held it together during Clark's absence. This was supposed to be business as usual, on paper at least. But the moment Caitlin stepped back onto that court, everything flipped. She exploded for 32 points, dished out 7 assists, and delivered a personal highlight reel worthy of its own ESPN 30 for 30 documentary. And yes, even while teammate Sophie Cunningham hit the floor in pain during one play, Clark was pulling up over double teams, sinking logo threes like it was nothing. She's officially back, and she's lethal. But what really caught everyone off guard came after the final buzzer. Instead of brushing off the loss or hiding behind rehearsed post-game lines, Sabrina and Stewie kept it real and gave Caitlin her flowers on live TV. They didn't try to sugarcoat it or shift the blame. They just told the truth. "We go on runs, they go on runs. They're a solid team," Stewart admitted. "I don't think it was demoralizing. We know how deadly she is from beyond the arc. We just gave her too many clean looks." She continued, "Her range is incredible, and the way she gets her shot off, even after missing games, is amazing. On a personal note, I'm just happy to see her back, healthy and doing what she does best." That's big for them. So when asked how Caitlin Clark looked after her injury break, the answer was loud and clear, from the scoreboard to her opponent's respect. She looked legendary. Sabrina Ionescu didn't hold anything back. She openly admired Caitlin Clark's insane shooting range, her calm under pressure, and how she managed to get clean looks even with tight defenders on her. That wasn't just PR talk or polished media training. No, that was one elite shooter recognizing another. And she didn't stop there. Sabrina let her guard down and went full human, even saying how genuinely happy she was to see Caitlin back healthy, not just for Indiana's sake, but for Clark as a person. That kind of statement? You don't say that about someone you see as just a hyped media story. You say that about a peer, about someone who truly belongs. Caitlin Clark didn't just play well, she delivered a performance only she can pull off. She lit up the court with back-to-back logo threes, 3 of them in just 38 seconds. Each shot was more jaw-dropping than the last. And the way she sprinted into position, stopped on a dime, and nailed those shots with flawless form, it was simply gorgeous. But the moment that hit the hardest, it was when Sabrina, arguably one of the league's greatest sharpshooters, admitted that they gave Clark far too many open looks. Just let that settle in. Sabrina Ionescu, the human three-point machine, openly saying Clark's range is a problem, even when defenders are right there. When a player with Sabrina's credibility says, "Caitlin's jumper is lethal with even a sliver of space," you believe it. because she knows exactly what it takes to hit shots from way beyond the arc. Caitlin Clark is not just another star. She's the basketball player to watch right now, arguably the best in the world. She's the difference maker, the one shifting the game. She is the face of basketball today. Here's what fans are saying. I'm all in on the Fever, but this was the first game I watched this season that didn't feature them. Incredible game, ladies. Love the mutual respect. Hope you all have a great season. Now that's the kind of sportsmanship we live for. Then there was Breanna Stewart. She played it cool, but didn't sugarcoat anything either. This is a two-time league MVP, a proven champion. She could have easily pointed fingers or nitpicked calls, but instead, she told it how it was. Stewie admitted what everyone saw with their own eyes. They got outplayed. Not by chance, not by fluke, but by a team with a smarter plan, cleaner execution, and one lethal weapon named Caitlin Clark. Breaking it down, Stewart said, individually, it came down to better reads off the switches. It was tough. They always had someone there, cutting off space. Finding a lane or open teammate wasn't easy, and as a team, we just didn't defend well enough. They put up 53 in the first half and ended with 102. That tells you everything. We weren't getting stops. You know what really stood out? When Caitlin drilled a logo 3 right in Stewart's face. What did Stewie do? She didn't pout. She smiled. That wasn't frustration, that was respect. That's what it looks like when greatness recognizes greatness. She knew she'd just witnessed something special, even if it came at her expense. The breakdowns Breanna mentioned? They weren't just defensive errors, they were the result of Clark's gravity on the court. When one player can pull up from 35 feet and make it look routine, your entire game plan starts to collapse before it even starts. The Liberty were scrambling to contain Clark, and in that chaos, Indiana's shooters feasted. And Stewie summed it up perfectly. It's not discouraging. Basketball is a game of runs. Just like we have ours, they had theirs. They're a strong squad. And sure, we know what a phenomenal shooter Caitlin is. We just gave her too many looks, and she made us pay. But maybe the most powerful thing about this whole post-game scene? The complete absence of ego. It wasn't about saving face. It was 2 elite players tipping their hats to someone who earned every bit of that spotlight. We've all seen the media trying to create fake drama between Caitlin Clark and the WNBA vets. But instead of taking the bait, Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart did something far more powerful. They silenced the noise. No bitterness, no blame game, just truth. And the stats? They had Clark's back. The Fever were lights out from beyond the arc. And no, it wasn't luck or divine intervention. It was Caitlin Clark pulling so much defensive pressure that her teammates were getting wide open, gym-level shots. Stewart even admitted something subtle but massive. They ran their starters into the ground trying to keep pace with Indiana. That's not just a rotation issue. That's the mental pressure Caitlin puts on teams. She speeds up the game, stretches your defense to its breaking point, and forces opponents out of their comfort zone just to survive. That's the kind of shift only stars create. That's what a real MVP in the making looks like. Coach Sandy Brondello didn't dodge responsibility either. No injuries excuse, no questionable ref calls, just pure accountability. She admitted they struggled to get into the paint in the second half, despite starting strong with 32 paint points early on. We couldn't get those clean looks later, she said. That's on us as a coaching staff. We've got to help them more. Indiana was physical, switched a lot, and threw us off. That level of honesty from a coach at that tier? It shows the Fever didn't just win, they sent a message. This was a statement game. There's the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark. And then there's the version of Indiana with her. That version looks like the second coming of the Warriors. Statistically, it was a demolition. Indiana hung 102 on the board, including a scorching 53 in the first half alone. A team that seemed lost without Clark came alive with her return. And those 17 three-pointers? That wasn't a lucky night, that was gravity in action. Clark bends defenses so much she makes everyone around her better. She's currently the only player in the league averaging at least 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Caitlin Clark is back, and she didn't just lift her team, she dominated. Sabrina summed it up by calling basketball a game of runs. But let's be real. This wasn't a hot streak. This was a four-quarter dismantling. Indiana didn't just catch fire, they executed from the opening tip to the final whistle. And Sabrina and Brianna knew it. They didn't just recognize a good game, they acknowledged sustained brilliance. Here's the real takeaway. Caitlin Clark isn't just generating buzz, she's reshaping the league. She's lifting her team, commanding respect, silencing narratives, and doing it the hardest way, by outplaying legends and earning their praise. Brianna Stewart said it best in her post-game comments. They made too many defensive errors, and Clark punished every one of them. 17 threes from deep, she noted, and most were wide open. That's on us. Miscommunication, breakdowns. We probably overused our starters tonight too. But it's something we've got to learn from. We're nowhere near where we want to be. And the way Stewart spoke? It wasn't your usual post-loss media script. Her tone was serious. Her words, measured. You could feel it. This one hurt. This wasn't just about one game. It was about pride, about identity. The Liberty have been the measuring stick, the team everyone's chasing. So when Stewart says Clark disrupted their tempo and rattled their system, that's not just analysis. That's a reality check. The kind that shakes locker rooms. When defending champions start questioning who they are after facing a team that was dismissed 5 games ago, that tells you all you need to know about the kind of impact Caitlin Clark just had on this league. Even as the post-game media scrum unfolded, Ionescu and Stewart sat beside their coach and kept it real. She has ridiculous range and gets her shot off with ease, one said. I'm honestly happy to see her back on the court. That's not sarcasm. That's respect. Caitlin Clark isn't just a star. She's a global superstar. She's not just the face of her team. She is the franchise. She's the main draw. The numbers speak for themselves. And in transition, she turns the floor into a sprinting lane. The Fever recorded 19 fast break chances, nearly 3 times their season average. Why? Because Caitlin doesn't jog the ball up like it's 1999. She snatches the rebound or loose ball and instantly triggers a fast break. Even Stewart mentioned how impossible it was to get into their sets when they couldn't get stops. That's not just execution, it's Caitlin controlling the terms of the game. Ionescu echoed it too. When the Liberty couldn't run in transition, their whole flow collapsed. That's the Caitlin Clark effect. She doesn't just score, she doesn't just pass. She dismantles your system and leaves nothing standing. If you haven't heard by now, Caitlin Clark is officially back. And she didn't just return, she made sure everyone felt it. She stepped back, drilled a 3 over Brianna Stewart, and made it look effortless. And just when you thought things couldn't spiral further, the free throw stats delivered the final punch. The Liberty actually had more trips to the line but failed to capitalize. Stewart herself pointed out their lack of rim attacks. And why was that happening? Because Caitlin Clark was stretching the floor like a sniper perched on a rooftop. Give her space and she pulls up, press her, and she drives. Her presence warped New York's defense until their paint presence disappeared. New York tried every defensive scheme in the book, switching, zones, full denial. None of it mattered. When championship-level coaches run out of strategies, you're not just watching a star, you're witnessing a phenomenon. Clark is now the 4th fastest player in WNBA history to reach 850 points. And she's not just putting up shots, she's hitting logo-range threes with Jordan-esque flair, tongue out, and all. Rumors are already swirling that Clark may be among the first WNBA stars to break into million-dollar salaries, and rightly so. As Stewart admitted post-game, Clark's impact forced a complete identity check for the Liberty. The top-seeded team walked into that arena confident and left unsure if they still held the throne. And that means something. Both Stewart and Ionescu have competed globally, against the best from every continent. So when they speak about someone's greatness, it carries serious weight. Sabrina focused on how Clark gets her shot off under extreme pressure. Hands in her face, high stakes, split seconds. That's not hype, that's elite-level skill. While great shooters hit shots, true scorers create them in chaos. Clark does both, like she's writing the script while the game unfolds. Let's not forget, New York Liberty is supposed to be the juggernaut of the league. Yet the Indiana Fever, a team they were expected to steamroll, have now beaten them twice. And Clark isn't just leading. She's changing the tempo, turning basketball chess into pinball. She yanked the remote from New York and flipped the channel, and the Liberty never got it back.